What up, party people? It's Lent, the Christian season of Lent, that 40-day season. Usually people give stuff up before Easter. And here's your local wacky Christian leftist Damon here to talk about it. I want to give you a way different perspective. But first, let's talk about this boy named William McLeod in Utah. This is a story that's been going around, and it's really the inspiration for this video. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about my thoughts on Lent, but when I heard this story, I thought, yes, definitely. So, this boy in Utah on this Ash Wednesday came into class. He had a Catholic Mass in the morning. They put the ashes on his forehead, came into class. The teacher was like, "What is that on your forehead?" Classic.
And the teacher walked over and said, like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's Ash Wednesday and I'm Catholic, first day of Lent." And he's like, "No, it's inappropriate, go take it off."
And as I read those words in the article, I just imagine all these conservative Christians everywhere thinking, "Oh my God, yes, this is like God's not dead style proof of religious persecution that conservative Christians love clinging to in order to give a larger narrative that Christians are persecuted all over." They love taking these little individual wacky stories and trying to make them say something bigger. And so the boy said, I guess so. He had to start wiping it off. She took him to the corner, forced him to wipe the whole thing off because you could still kind of see it, embarrassed him in front of the class, made him cry, felt like he was in trouble, went to the principal called the mom and the grandma, and they were devastated. And he was like super in distress and emotional, felt like he was in trouble and felt like he did something bad. The teacher got in trouble. The teacher ended up giving him some candy with a note saying, "I'm really sorry, I hope we can move forward." Apparently she called him too to apologize and saying, "Can I do anything to help?" And he said, "No." And then this teacher got put on administrative leave. So it's really just a wacky story. This isn't like a story of, look at the school system nowadays being persecuting these little Christian kids. No. Some people are trying to turn it into that, but it's just a little misunderstanding. But I want to talk about this because what blows my mind is that this symbol of a cross on the forehead, when we look at the actual root of this historical symbol, it's deserving of getting in trouble for. I mean, nowadays it's we're so desensitized to this original symbol, and it's become such a part of our culture that people just look at it and think, "Ah, yeah, religion. There's some Christian people, there's some Jesus people." And really, this thing was way more revolutionary when it started. Think about it. This guy, Jesus, Yeshua, this Jewish brown guy who lived in first century Palestine under the control of the global Roman Empire that was just killing people, just region after region after region, and that's how they grew the empire, and that's what they called peace, because they felt like if all your enemies are dead, that's peace. So they felt like they're bringing a reign of peace and prosperity to the world as they killed each region. And they would go to a region and say, "Declare Caesar as Lord," and if they said yes, then they would be grafted into the Roman Empire. If they said no, then they would put everyone on crosses. And there's stories of people being put on crosses when they say no to following this very violent and oppressive empire. There's stories of the city of Magdala where they lined up the entire city, and you could see it from afar, of all these men, women, and children on crosses. It's very, very violent, and Jesus was yet another person who went around saying that he's bringing a completely different reign, talking about the kingdom of God. And ushering in the kingdom of God automatically means you're ushering out the kingdom of Caesar, which is treason. So he gets put on a cross, executed by the government, by the state, by getting arrested by the police and being executed and being put on a hill for everyone else to see. And the two guys next to him, the word lestai, the Greek lestai, sometimes can be translated to thieves, but it's better understood as bandits. So these are two insurrectionaries, other people who are doing something that's not making the Roman government happy. And he's killed. And then all of Jesus' followers, after that, as they continue to follow the way of Jesus, are also put on crosses. And they go around saying, which it's entirely possible, that our guy wasn't killed. I mean, there's the fact that no matter what, Christianity was born out of the movement of followers. And when you look at it from that perspective, does it really matter if there is a physical resurrection? That's a whole other argument. But no matter what, we do know that these first set of followers did believe that he did not stay dead. And that became a powerful revolutionary narrative that drove these people to say they tried to kill us, they tried to kill our guy, and he couldn't remain dead. His vision stays alive. We still experience him as alive, and we are still continuing to spread this thing. And so each and every one of them were also put on crosses because it was illegal. And it was insurrectionary. It was treason against the Roman government. And people didn't start to use the cross necessarily as a symbol until after the Roman government stopped executing people on crosses. And it became a Christian symbol later. And really, if you think about it, Christians using a cross as a symbol on their forehead is very similar to if African Americans were to use a symbol of a noose on their forehead after the post-lynching era. Because that's exactly what it is. And we would assume if we did see a ton of African Americans using a noose as a symbol after lynching, we would assume that what they're trying to do is take a symbol that was used to try to end their lives and use it as a symbol of pride to say, we still live. And we understand that our very existence is dangerous, but we still fight for our existence. And that's very much what the cross was in the beginning, using this symbol to say we still are alive and we still fight for our lives, and we know that this is going to lead to death. And so when Lent and Ash Wednesday started to become a traditional practice of the church, they would and say things like, remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return, is from Genesis. And they still say it today. Remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. In other words, you are going to die. That's what it means to follow Jesus. That's why in the Gospels they have Jesus saying things like, pick up your cross and follow me. It's like, if you want to follow me, this thing is going to lead to death. You're going to have to give up your life for this thing. And then as Christianity became an empire of the religion, after Constantine became a Christian and made it the official empire of the religion, it started to get really comfortable. People weren't being killed. People weren't being persecuted or tortured. That first official council of Christian leaders, the Council of Nicaea, those Christian leaders walking into that room to have that first official council, some of them had limps, some of them were missing limbs, some of them were missing eyes, some of them had burn marks, because they were all coming from a religion of people, or a movement rather, of people tortured for this thing. And as this movement became a religion, as it became something completely different, I think it became a lot about guilt and repression because they needed to add a sense of urgency after it became way too comfortable. That's just my theory, at least. And I, on Ash Wednesday, went to an Ash Wednesday service with some friends, and after we went to a bar, and it was in the nighttime, and when I was there was this guy as we were walking out, and he was like, what is that thing on your forehead? I keep seeing people with that thing. What is that? And I said something similar to what that Utah boy said. I said, it's Lent, Ash Wednesday, first day of Lent. They put a cross on your forehead, that's all. And then he's like, oh, what is that? And then as he was asking questions, this guy on the other side of the bar started like drunkenly yelling at him, saying, you don't know what that is, you're an idiot, you're such a moron, oh my god. And then he yelled back and he was like, well, sorry, I don't support organized religion, that's why I don't know what it is. It was just weird and funny. And then I was like, all right, let that guy explain the rest to you, I gotta go. And I was thinking about that, how it's so wild that looking at that cross, you think organized religion. It's so wild how the cross is now associated with organized oppression, organized large systems that control people. Well, that's totally not what it initially was. And so all that to say, what I was initially saying is, this boy feels like he's in trouble because he had a cross on his forehead. If we really, really understood once again the weight of that cross, that's something that of course you would get in trouble for. To wear that symbol with pride is a challenge to the powers that be, is a challenge to systems that do oppress people, is a challenge to the empire that tries to spread peace through domination and destruction and violence. So yeah, that's just some of my thoughts, a little bit of a rant. And during this season of Lent, and as we get closer and closer to Good Friday and Easter time, celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus, let's remember really what we're talking about here. How powerful this story really is. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Happy Lent. I'll see you later.